Hi, everybody. I would just like to say thank you for everybody joining today's webinar. The title of this webinar is The Benefits of Power BI for Your Business. So I will be discussing 5 points of main benefits for Power BI, but please keep in mind that these are not the only benefits Power BI can provide. These are just my personal preferences of working with Power BI over these years, what the main benefits can be for your business. So the first one is Power BI is cloud-based. So what it means by cloud-based is it is accessible through a web browser. So you log in through a web browser. You can log in either using your cell phone, your device, your laptop. All that's required is a browser, internet connection, and a device. So no more need for an on-premises server purchases of hardware and such. And then you can also connect to data easily. When connecting to data in Power BI, they made the user experience very, very easy and very simple to do. It is literally just with a click of a button, you can get data into your model and start designing visualizations. Following up on connecting to data easily is you can also connect to multiple sources. So whereby you want to connect to a SQL database, you can connect to an Excel flat file, you can connect to your Google Analytics, your Facebook Analytics. You can connect all of these sources into one report in order to create one model. The drag and drop of visuals. So Power BI provides the free canvas design capability. What that entails is I can choose various visuals like line graphs, pie graphs, bar charts, and I can rearrange them on my canvas in any way that I want. It's not to say that if it's set, it's set. I can rearrange it and plan it, color it, whatever I want to do with it. And then you've got your row-level security. So row-level security in Power BI, also yet again very simple to set up, is I'm going to use the example of sales reps working in various areas. Let's say I only want the sales reps working in area A only to see area A information, and sales reps working in B only to see sales in area B. That can be done with Power BI. Very simple to set up. You just create it and you just plot your users into that relevant group. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the demo. So firstly, there are two distinctions that we need to make between Power BI. There's a Power BI portal or Power BI app, and then there's Power BI desktop. Power BI desktop is the one that I just opened up now. This is where I design my model or my reports. And when I'm done with the report, I can publish it to the portal, whereby the end users can consume the report via the web application. So that brings us to the first point of Power BI is cloud-based. So in order for me to access this published report, I will simply go type in Power BI, and I can search for the Power BI sign-in. So if I were to search for Power BI here, I can literally search it in the Google search bar, and it will show me there's a sign-in. Now this is Microsoft's personal portal, and you can sign into your own organization's portal. So if I were to work in a big company and we have hundreds of reports that are published, we can publish it to our own tenant, as they're referred to. And this is where I can distribute the various reports. After I've signed in, I will come to this page. This will be my login portal page. From here, I can see on the left-hand side on the menu items, there are various applications that I can connect to. I've got a home view, I've got my favorite reports, recent reports that I've just accessed, and reports that have been shared with me. Power BI works in the principle, especially the portal, on the principle of workspaces. The best way of explaining the workspaces is to indicate, let's say I've got a finance team, I've got an HR team, I've got a marketing team, and I've got the development team. I can create 4 various workspaces for all of them. And if I've got my BI developer that can create these reports, I can publish these reports to the various workspaces so that not everybody can see all the reports, so that the finance team can only see reports relevant to them, and the development team can see reports relevant to them. So that is just what it means by it is cloud-based. So I access it through a web portal. All that's required is a browser, a device, and an internet connection. Now, that brings us on to the next point, which will be how easily it is to connect data to Power BI. So from here, I'm going to move along to the desktop app. So from Power BI desktop is where I create my models, where I collect all the information, build, design, and then publish to the portal. So in the top left-hand side, you'll see there's quite a few menu items. In the ribbon options, you've got your home, your view, your modeling, and help. We will just be working on the home item or the home ribbon. Now, to connect data in Power BI is relatively easy and very simple. And you can simply just click on Get Data. Now, the first items that will pop up is just going to be the most common items. Excel will always be there first. Then you've got your Power BI data sets. This is a new feature in Power BI whereby I can connect to data sets that have been imported to the portal directly. There's no need for me to reconnect it and then publish again. You've got your SQL Server, you've got your SSAS or analysis services, whereby you can connect to a cube that has been created. You can even connect to text documents, web browsers, OData feeds, and much more. So when you click on the More button, you'll see that there's quite a lot more data connectors that are available within Power BI. I can see that I can connect to various Azure features, services in Azure as well. And then you can see that there are specific industry created or system created like Smartsheets, QuickBooks, PlanView, and so on, that can be created or used as a data source. Also bear in mind that you can also create an ODBC connector. ODBC stands for an organic database connector, whereby you can create one on your computer. So you can connect to more than one source as well. For today's demonstration purposes, all I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to a SQL Server and an Excel file. SQL Server being the most common used server databases for most enterprise systems, and Excel being the most used, still being the most used for reporting structures. I'm going to connect to a SQL Server database and just demonstrate how simple it is. So I'm going to start from the beginning. On my home page, I can click on Get Data, and I can choose SQL Server. The window that will pop up is to indicate that it wants to connect to a SQL Server database. The first option I have to choose is going to be a server. To which server am I connecting? If I hover over the information, it will also tell me you can also connect to a various port number. So I'm going to connect to my own local host SQL Server database, which is on my computer. All that is required for me is just to give my server name. So my server name is rather simple. It's Laptop Francois. And I'm just going to go back to the desktop, and I'm going to place it right there. So the database, if you want to connect straight to it, is an optional, but you don't need to, because if I go to the next page, it's going to give me the list of all the databases available in my server. You have the connectivity mode of by either importing the information directly into Power BI or doing a direct query. So when you do direct query, it will query the SQL Server database and it will pull the information back to you. Import, it will run it once and it will give you all the information as a time. Very nice feature as well is you can also do direct queries if you want to. You can write your SQL statement in here and Power BI will run it for you. For today's demonstration purposes, I'm just going to connect to the server and then choose from a list of databases which one I want to work with. So after I've input into my server name, I can say, okay. Power BI being very smart will pick up that this is a server. And for today, the database I'm going to work with is AgriHatch AgriFeed. It's a demonstrative purpose database that I have in my SQL Server, and we're going to work with it. Now, in the Navigator window, it will show me all my databases available in the server. Now, next to AgriHatch AgriFeed, I can see that there's a number of 1004. This indicates to me the database objects, views, and tables. First thing that will always show up is a view. As a view in a SQL database is a collection of tables that are being joined together. So it can give me more information than just a single table. I always use the explanation of think of an Excel sheet. You've got your multiple sheets and you just want to connect them all to one. So for today, I'm going to connect this one, AR transactions full, which is all my accounts receivables. Now, it's not to say that you can only just choose one. I can choose multiple. I can choose more than one. I can choose 10 if I'd like. Just bear in mind, the more you choose, the longer it's going to take to load because we are in import mode. So for today, I'm just going to import all my accounts receivables transactions, and I can say load. Now, there are more options. Edit is I can go straight into edit mode. As an example, if I want to change the dynamics of the TX date or the transaction date, I do not want to see the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. I can edit it immediately and then import the final result. For today, we are just going to load it. So After you've clicked load, Power BI will create the connection automatically for you. It will show you where it's going through the whole process, and now it's loading the data to the model. It's connecting to the server, and there we can see rows are starting to populate. Let's just give this a few seconds to finish populating, as it is quite a big database. But as you can see, also the speed at what Power BI can also get the rows from the SQL Server database. As soon as it's done, it will show you immediately. And as you can see, that was quite a big data set, 500,000 rows. And now everybody starts wondering now, where is my data now? Okay. So the data is on the right-hand panes. As you can see on the right-hand side, we've got our filters. This is also a very new feature. We've got our visualizations and other filters as well. And we've got our fields. So if I open up the fields, I can see that my AR transactions full table or view has been populated. What this means for me as a developer or BI developer, I can start creating my report as I have the information. So that was just a good demonstration of how easily you can connect data to Power BI. The next step of the agenda, or the next point of the agenda, is connect to multiple sources in order to create one report. So it's not to say that I have just connected to SQL Server, I am fixed now. I cannot connect to more. Power BI allows you to connect to more than one. So how do I go about this? I'm just going to close this table here. I can go back to get data. And for today, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to connect to an external Excel source. So I'm going to connect to Excel. I've already created a few Excel samples for us here. And I'm going to connect to the sales sample. And now it's going to go through the same process as the SQL Server, whereby it's going to run, it's going to create the connection to the model, and we just wait for it. Now, in my Excel workbook, it will identify all the sheets that have data in it. For today, I'm just going to work with orders. Now, the orders entry, I can see all my information here regarding sales information. I'm not going to edit it. I'm going to load it straight to the system or within Power BI model. And as you can see, it's there. My orders sheet from my Excel workbook of sales has been imported successfully. So now I can see in my model or my whole Power BI file, I've got information from a SQL Server and I have information from an Excel file. You can create and add as much as you want. You can add from various systems, you can add from various servers as much as you'd like. Now, that is just concerning how you can connect multiple sources, very simple and very easy in Power BI. The next point is the drag and drop visuals. This is the fun part. This is where we're going to start creating the report. I'm going to show you how quick it is to actually create a report on the data that has been imported. So when I refer to drag and drop visuals, it refers to everybody's got this seeing in mind that you can drag it in and everything. It's the same principle with Power BI. For today, I'm going to work with my Excel sheet data because I want to build some relevant information pertaining to my sales data. So if I were to want to create a comparison of table, I want to see which customers had which sales and how much the sales were. So I can simply click on table, and by visual of a free canvas, I can just move it around. I can decide I don't want it in the left corner, I want it in the center. I want it perhaps in the right top corner or the left, or let's say the left bottom corner. So now I can go and I'll leave it just there for demonstration purposes. So now that I've chosen my visual, now I want to start adding information. With Power BI, yet again, it's very simple. I can simply just click on customer name and it will populate it. And then if I want to go to sales, I can populate it as well. And now I can see that something is a bit stranger because I want to sum the sales. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger so that everybody can see it more. I'm going to make it very big. Okay. So now I can see that these are my sales as per customer, but it's repeating. I want it to summarize for me. But however, when I go to the sales, it says don't summarize and it says first and last instead of summing. That is because in my Excel file, it was identified as a text and not as a numeric value. But that's no problem for Power BI. I can simply go to the left-hand side. I can see my menu items as report. data and model. I'm going to go to the data part. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change or convert the data type from a text field to a numeric field, so that Power BI can identify it as being a number, and you can start doing aggregations with it. So it's as simple as finding the field, and I can see that there's sales, and it's identified currently as a text value. I can simply just click and say it's a decimal, as I have periods inside, and I can just say yes. And that's how quick it is actually just to change the dynamics of the data type. I'm just going to do the same with profit, as I will also be able, whereby I'll also use it later. So once where your table was seen as a text field, it's going to change. And now all I do here is I can just take it away and just bring it back in so that it can refresh. And there we go. All my values have been summarized as per client. So there we go. Now I know the total sales per client. Now I want to see a nice visual card that will indicate the total sales overall. So I, in retrospect, want to take that total and just make it visually appealing. I just simply choose the card visual and I click on sales and everything will summarize for me. The same will apply for my profit. I want to see how much profit I made based on that sale. I can choose my card visual again. I can resize it. I can make it a bit smaller. And now I can just say, yeah, and I choose the profit. And there I can see my profit. Let's maybe add one more for the amount of quantity sold. Let's just resize it, put it in there in the corner, and I can go to quantity. Then I know how much quantity I have sold. So now that I can see that my report's coming a bit by, I want to start adding a bit more features to it. So let's add perhaps a pie graph. So I want my pie graph to be there, but I want it to be a bit bigger. So let's maybe resize it, make it a bit taller. And I want to do just comparison between the category and the total sales. And as you can see there, as simple as that, the visual has been developed. And if you hover over it, it will also indicate to you the amount of sale that was given by that category for technology, as well as a percentage distribution tag. So now that I've got my distribution by category, I want to see perhaps a time series analysis. So let me see the total sales over a period of time. So I simply choose my line graph. I can create it as big as I want. And I would like to see the audit date. Let's just quickly get that one open. I'm going to choose it. By default, Power BI will automatically see that, listen, I'm going to break this date timestamp for you in years, quarters, months, and days. That's a very nice feature. It automatically does it for you. For now, I just want to see the distribution by month, and I want to see the total sales. And from there, I can see the growth from January all the way to December. It's been a very nice growth in sales. And now if I still want to see by year, because you have various years, I want to add a filter, or a slice as they call it. I'm going to add a filter for the year. I can add in there. I'm going to say, show me the date hierarchy, and only for the year. I don't want it to show it as a bar. I want to show it as a drop-down. And from here, I can choose my various years. I want to see for 2015, the dynamics will change. If I choose for 2016, it will change. Now there's this nice white space here. Now what can I do with this white space? Now Power BI has some nice features pertaining to maps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a map and I want to see the distribution of sales by country. So let's just place it there. And I do have a country, but maybe let's take city so we can see how it's scattered all over the world. I'm going to choose my city. And then I'm going to say, show me the total sales by the city. And now I just give it some time to refresh, and it is done. Let's maybe rearrange it. Let's make it a bit taller there. And I can see that I've got sales scattered in North America, in Europe. If I zoom out, I can see that this is where it is being distributed. If I zoom in, I can see the size of the bubble will indicate the amount of sales. So if I were to zoom in Los Angeles, in there, the bigger the bubble, the bigger the sale by that city. Now, a nice quick feature if you want to change, I can see that the sales value is just showing me a number. It's not showing me a currency value. To change that, it's as simple as just clicking on the sales column and just going and changing the format. As we know in South Africa, we're going to change it to the Rand value. What's nice about this, everywhere where you use that column or that field, everything will change dynamically for it. Now, the same principle will also apply for the year filter. If I choose 2014, the dynamics will change on the map as well. So that just shows a nice indication of how easily it is to work with it, drag and drop visuals. Make this one a bit nicer, and I can place it there. So the next part of the agenda, or the next point, is the row level security. This is a very nice feature in Power BI, as it can display certain information for certain users in which groups they have placed in. To set this up is actually also very simple. Let's use an example by, if I were working in the furniture category and I logged in as a sales rep, I only want to see furniture information. It's as simple as going to manage roles. I'm going to create a new role. I'm going to say furniture sales reps. Now it wants to ask me, which table do you want to work with? I want to work on my orders table. And then I'm going to say create a filter for me. I'm going to tell it only show me where the category equals furniture. And then I can say save. And now if I want to view how it would look like if I log in as a furniture sales representative, I can also choose view roles as. So there's my newly created role, or my management role, or security role, and I can say okay. And as you can see, my furniture table, or my pie graph, has changed to furniture. The customers with their sales, the profit, the quantity, even the distribution between the countries, as well as the sales over a time span. If I want to stop viewing, I can take it just back, and it'll take it to viewing everything. So you can do this based on the category. You can do it on multiple conditions as well, if you'd like. You can do it on country, category, and month, and client, if you'd like. I would just like to say thank you for joining today's meeting, and I hope to see you all in the next one. It's going to get much more fun and more integrated and more technical, whereby we can show you what we as data analysts do in order to take raw data, transform it, and make it visual. There we go. Thank you, everybody.